like that.
Okay, how are we set now? Are we pretty well set?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay. You can't read a person
no,
who's...
See, now it's all the way over. It's down at the end again.
On test.
No, now it's...
Okay.
Oh, I was thinking of something. That's all.
What was the thought?
I was saying to myself, God, this is suppressive of you doing this. I was having like, you know, I was having some back off, you know, because of the fact that, you know, I feel like I was betraying the third dynamic by doing this, you know, on
Now,
camera.
what does it mean if the meter is all the way over to the left?
You mean on this side?
On the left side.
Well, that would indicate, a rising needle indicates non-confront.
Meaning untruthfulness?
Yeah, lies, untruthfulness, inability to confront, basically.
Right. And a falling needle?
Truth, flattening it, you know.
Okay.
It's flat. How are we doing here? Okay. Well, it's probably set a slight bit off.
What type of question would cause the meter to go up?
How are we now?
Well, we're all the way over to the left.
We are? Then trim it. Set the toe and arm a little bit more. The trim, rather. I got a cameraman as an auditor. That's great. How's it now?
See if you can line it up with the set line.
Yeah, there you go. It's falling down. Oh, there we go. Okay.
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 You got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, what does it take to get you to go exterior at this point?
What does it take to get me to
Yeah.
go exterior?
Yeah, do it.
Don't.
Just do any... Which routine do you want to use? Do you want to go 3 feet behind the back of your head? Can you go exterior thinking about that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see you go exterior.
Okay. Just leave it.
Where are you?
Here.
Where's here?
Leave it.
Behind the body.
What year is it?
76,613,480,883,885.
Who are you?
Eshamaglopi.
Who's he?
Me.
What's your role in life?
To free Earth.
From what?
From suppression.
By whom?
By suppressives.
Who are the suppressives?
Christ and his chaos merchants and wogs.
Go to another time. Go to the time you were with Umberto. Go to the time Umberto hurt you. What did it feel like when he cut you? Describe it.
He cut the body. Pain.
Can you confront that?
Yes. No, maybe not. Yes. I can.
Okay, come back to the room. Are you in the room?
Which one?
This room?
It doesn't look that solid.
Make the room solid.
Without best perceptics?
Now come back to the room in this time. Go back in your body. You all right?
Yeah, it just felt so good to be out. Felt so good to be out.
Right.
Stephen,
Yeah.
why don't you can take that, put that away now.
How were the reads? Was it flattened?
Oh, yeah.
Good. So you were reading, let me explain something to you. You were reading on low. That would be for a person who is not clear over here.
Uh-huh.
And if you are clear, you have to read it on high.
When the needle goes all the way to the right, what does that mean?
It reads, it's a flat needle.
Okay,
That means the needle, when the needle is floating, or you flatten the process, when you flatten the process, it goes to the right. When the needle's floating, you go on to the next question too.
Okay, what if
Floating means around the set line, right?
The set line.
Okay, what if if it's down to all the way to the left?
You're not confronting something, or you're lying.
Okay. Okay.
This is how court should work. Put a person on the meter, get their OWs, and then the judge can sentence them.
Okay. Stephen, hand me those papers you've got there.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a few questions.
Then you could have only charged me $1.98.
Maybe $2.50. I had been given by you this
Whole track check sheet.
whole track check
Security
sheet
check sheet.
that asks a lot of questions. Are
Right.
these the types of questions that you can be asked during an auditing session?
An upper level auditing session, you wouldn't want to ask that to a person, a new body in the shop.
So in other words, an auditor would sit there asking a person who's undergoing what level?
Well, these questions would typically be used net or above, class 5 or above.
Okay. And the person is hooked up to the meter.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever been asked these questions during an auditing session?
Yeah, otherwise I wouldn't have had the list. The reason why I have the list is because I was co-auditing another PC and they were co-auditing me.
Okay. Like, for example, there's some questions on here I want to ask you if you recall what you discovered from your auditing process. Have you ever enslaved a population?
Yes.
Where was that?
Well, of course, there's different ways to look at it, but in other words, I'm thinking of different places. But it all depends on how far back you want to go. Demogorgon would be one incident. I actually also freed a population
Where was that?
from null sweep. It was an incident which is in the book to do with Christ. I freed a population that he enslaved. I mean, I'm not. These questions are for is a security check sheet. It gets you to confront your OWs, but there's also a very nice part of me that isn't in there. You know.
I understand that. Have you ever? One of the questions here is: have you ever made a planet or nation radioactive? And your answer here is
By
yes.
pulling the air cover.
Where was that?
That was in the Avidalagadrin galaxy. I actually pulled the ozone layer, the air cover off the planet, and everyone died. I was angry. I was at 1.5.
That's 1.5 on the tone scale, right?
Right, exactly. See, you see, my problem is there's so much he doesn't understand.
It's okay. I understand a little bit more anyway. Have you ever denied others a means of existence?
Yes, on Marcab, when I collapsed the currencies. I basically left them without a financial instrument.
those were pretty serious actions, all of these things. Pulling
Sure.
ozone layers and so on.
I know that. I know that.
Mike, here's another one. You ever,
I don't. That's why I don't think people should see all these bad things that I did, because they're going to know how terrible I've been. Why would you want to tell everybody all the overts I've committed? That wouldn't help me.
Well, then, these are the overts that you've committed?
Yeah. I mean, when people hear that I've done that, how much can they possibly think of me?
Okay.
Except that I'm a rotten person.
But it wasn't you, Steven Fishman, who did these things.
It was the Thetan running this body.
Okay. Have you ever perpetrated an injustice? Says yes, as long as 12 trillion years.
Right.
What kind of injustice was that?
Well, that was the incident where I put things in Si's place. And I was married, and I put my three wives in Si's place. I was cruel. You know, I carried a policy too far. I think that was a little unjust.
Have you ever made sanity appear to be psychotic? Say sanity in this society is psychotic.
Yeah, it is. Do you know why?
Why?
Because the thing that was interfered with by the Between Lives area is sanity. Anybody that thinks they're a body is insane. I personally think that you're both insane.
You think we're insane?
Absolutely. Because you believe you're a body.
You don't think you're insane?
No. I know I'm not insane, because I know I'm a spiritual being. But you think you're a body, and that's totally insane. This civilization, people go through lives, they work, they raise a family, and they die. What?
Go ahead.
And they think that this is normal. They think this is normal. They think that that the accumulation of mess, of money and of things is the right is sane. When they don't even want to confront accumulating knowingness. They don't even care where they were before this lifetime. They don't even think they had a past life, a past lifetime. Now, isn't that insane? Don't you? Well, no, you don't. But I think that's totally insane.
Let's just do one more thing. Can we sort of take a tour of this room?
Okay, we're on.
Okay, just pan those small pictures up on the wall there above the window. And while that's going on, Stephen, why don't you tell me just generally what those pictures represent?
Well,
Not
they're
each
scenes.
one.
They're scenes from L. Ron Hubbard's Decology, called Mission Earth, which is a science fiction series based on the whole track.
Okay, so that although it was written as science fiction and many people would think of it as science fiction, actually it is true
From
history.
circumstances, yes, exactly.
True
On
history.
L. Ron
from-
Hubbard's time track.
Okay, so it's actually a report of something that was true,
Yeah.
but is believed by the uninformed
By the Wogs.
to be science fiction. Okay.
Yes.
Behind you are a number of posters. The first one on the right, does that one have anything to do with Scientology? All the way on the right.
This is a picture of the Thetan,
Uh-huh.
which was created by Sun Saray, who is that person that Mark mentioned before,
Okay.
who turned squirrel later on.
Is that an accepted picture of a Thetan, or was that her interpretation?
Both, because it was a Thetan doesn't really have any form or wavelength or matter, energy, space, or time, but this is her interpretation of what a Thetan mocking up a doll body looks like. You know what a doll body is?
No.
Okay, a doll body is like a robot body, which we used to use prior to the physical body.
Okay. I'm just curious, down below the copy machine, right by your leg, there seemed to be a collection of videotape
No, they're my favorite television show, Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse.
So you have, what, a collection of maybe 20 or 30?
Yeah, and then I have my hat packs from Scientology on the
Okay,
bottom.
so you got 20 or 30 videotapes of Pee Wee Herman, and,
Right.
and then underneath that,
I've got
collection
hat packs.
of Scientology hat packs.
Yeah, for example, here's one.
And those are all hat packs.
Here's the Director of Registration, Volume 2.
Okay.
Tells you exactly what your post would be.
Roughly
if you-
how much would you have paid for that?
$60.
Okay. And would those be the same HCOs that would be in some of the bound
Identical,
volumes?
but they're in a different sequence, so
They're
that's
just
why they're-
organized into the hat pack.
Right, exactly.
So you might pay $60 for a volume of that size, and then pay how much for each of the volumes of the collected HCO memos?
Well, the $100 for each of those.
Okay. All right, let's go to the next poster over. Rocket your case progress with the new OT.
This relates to OT4, the level of OT4, which is the end of endless drug rundowns.
Ah, okay. So an OT drug rundown is finally going to get rid of all the drug effects that anybody's ever had?
Exactly. You
But
do that after you do the wall of fire.
Okay. But that would include prescription drugs and all forms of pharmaceuticals as well as illicit drugs, right?
Exactly, even including MSG. MSG is a drug.
So basically, to complete the drug rundown, you would have to recontact each instance in
In your entire time track,
in which you had
any experience or contact or connection with any drug.
So running back over 76 trillion years,
Right.
you would have to audit out
Everyone.
every time you took an aspirin, every
Exactly.
time.
Exactly.
That could take a while.
Well, you do them as locks.
Oh, so you do bunches at a time.
You do bunches of aspirins at a time and bunches of whatever, you know.
Okay.
There are a lot of drugs that you may not even be aware of because they're not of this planet.
Okay. The last cars on Earth before World War III.
Right.
Is that a Scientology-related poster?
Yeah, I put the poster together because what I did is I got the 1997 is the last year we're going to be here unless I can do something to save the planet.
Okay, the year 1997, is that your insight or is that commonly accepted within the Scientology community?
I don't know how commonly accepted it is, but it's part of my auditing cycle.
So it's at least your auditing cycle.
Of course it is,
And-
but it may not be. It may be too confidential for a lot of people to know about.
Okay, and you don't know that's a widely held belief within.
Well, I know it's widely held because I discussed it with some Scientology execs.
Uh-huh. And how did they react to it?
They were aware. They were well aware of it. When I went to L.A. and I spoke to the senior chaplain out in AOLA, her last name was Holwedel, I think, Holwedel. She was totally aware of it, and I don't even think she had my PC folder.
Okay, so was she aware of it because it's something that many people recognize?
Probably on the upper levels.
Oh, okay. What's that little poster?
This is my favorite planet, Gandalupia.
Where did that poster come from?
I saw this in a magazine, and I remembered this place. And I took it to Fred Hare, and I said, "You see this picture? It's Gandalupia. This is the crystal planet where all of the water was crystalline." And I actually mocked this planet up. And Fred admitted that he had seen this as well. So he said, "We'll frame that. Let's frame that." You know.
Okay. The next poster over, the one with the rather unhappy-looking face.
Well, Joe Spencer painted this. It's also from Mission Earth, and it's called "Death of a Tolnap," which has to do with an incident in the book where a suppressive being, this is what a suppressive looks like, was destroyed. And, well, this is a very important thing.
That's the ethics conditions.
These are the ethics conditions. You're always in one of them. You as a Thetan cannot be out of this chart. You're in the chart somewhere. Up until the time that this whole mess happened, I was right here in power. Power is a normal, is a normal in a stellar range so high that it is total abundance. I was actually so close to doing what I was supposed to do.
What was the lowest ethics condition you ever got in before this all started?
I mean, before
the arrest, for example.
I was an emergency orphan, but I don't think I was never in a lower condition than emergency.
What sort of things would you get into emergency for?
Well, when my stats were repeatedly down.
Stats on what?
Bringing in money, not enough cases, not enough auditing hours.
What would be your what would you have to do to work your way out of that condition?
Well, you have to, in order to be out of emergency, what you have to do is you have to do the emergency formula, which is you have to economize and then you have to deliver. In other words, at that point, you would have to do something over and above your normal routines in order to get back in the good graces of the org.
Okay. The next poster over, the one, get the fabulous flag rundowns, L10, L11,
Being
L12.
this, doing this, and having this.
Okay. And those are all separate?
Separate actions which I was going to be able to do by the end of this year. In fact,
what would the phrase "have more you in present time to cause the things you want" translate to if you wanted
to talk to a WOG?
To talk to a WOG.
Have less of the past or the future or distraction. Have less bank, reactive bank.
Be more at cause?
Be more at cause. Be at cause, not more at cause. Okay. You can't be. You have to be at cause. You operate by postulates. You don't operate by effect. In other words, you're right at 20.0.
Okay. So
action. You're in
to
action.
cause the things you want, what would be the sorts of things that people might want?
To be free. To be free of this physical body. To be free of this stupid, screwed up universe. To be able to just operate as a thetan, like we used to be able to do. To build our own universe.
So there's really only one thing that people want, and the want is to become a thetan.
Yeah. No, we are a thetan.
Well, okay, but to have...
But to be able to operate as a thetan. Exactly.
So, is that do you think that's your unique meaning to that phrase, or might other people want some other things? So might people want some material things?
Well, if they're very low on the no to mystery scale.
But if they were at the point at which they could take L10 through L12...
They would not want material things.
So
If anybody that's taking L10, 11, and 12 will get rid of their material things to do the action.
So then it would be your opinion that there's really only one interpretation...
To be free.
For the things that you want.
To go to the top of the grade chart. That's what I want.
Okay, but that would also be what anybody who might be
But I also want to clear the planet. I also not only want to be on the top of the grade chart, I want to wear my hat as a thetan. So, fine, even if I can't go to the top of the grade chart and be free, I will be free by wearing my hat.
Okay. But as you see
Because if you clear half of the planet, how could you not go to the top of the grade chart?
Okay.
I mean, Ron will even bring me there.
Okay. But as you see it,
yeah.
There isn't any room really for anyone else who would be at a point at which they could take L10 or 11 or 12 to want anything other than the full awakening of their thetan powers.
What else is there?
That's all I wanted to know. What's the next one over?
Palace City?
No, the one underneath.
Oh, this is a quote from RJ35, Ron's journal, which is a cassette, which he gave at the beginning of, I think it was 1980 or 81. And it says, in all the broad universe, there is no hope for man other than ourselves. This is a tremendous responsibility. I, meaning Ron, have borne it myself too long.
Ourselves means collectively all Scientologists?
I have borne it myself too long. Myself.
But ourselves would mean Scientology as a group?
Yeah, Scientology, the third dynamic.
And the responsibility is really to save mankind?
To set man free.
Okay.
To set Theta free.
Right. What's the next one over?
Palace City. I'll go over there, I guess. City was the first print I ever bought from Bridge Publications. Now it's handled by another org called Author Services.
Mm-hmm.
But this represents a city in space in the Mission Earth series.
Okay. Now, looking at the next column,
Yes.
presumably the first one is irrelevant. The
That's
top one is.
my. That's what I call my ex-wife's grandmother, but it isn't.
Okay. So who's who in technology today?
Yeah.
Now that is an actual award that you received, the
Right.
nomination for which was done by,
Peter Letteries.
and
But there's a lot of silly stuff in there.
okay, but they're, all right,
They
we'll
relate to my time track, but they have nothing to do with technology and this.
But Technology Today is a real magazine.
Yeah, it's a book actually.
Okay. The next one down,
Squirrel.
just a generic squirrel.
It's a squirrel picture from that I got at the Light Center in North Carolina. Nothing to do with Scientology. I just think it's cute.
Oh, so
This
that
is a
has
squirrel type picture. It's just like a mythological picture, like you're using your word. Okay.
So
It has nothing to do
when you
with
said
science.
squirrel, it means.
It's not Scientology.
Oh, that's all. Okay. And the next is your children, obviously.
Children.
And then on top there, is that also not related?
Yeah, it's painting I like to get, and this was another. This is the girl that I always loved because this is what the Virgin Mary looked like. This is Christ's mother.
Are you sure of that?
Yeah, she looked well. There's a little bit of a difference because of the way the hair was, but this is the closest picture I've ever seen to what she looked like. So now you know why I was so attracted to her.
Understandable.
Okay.
Reasons to get trained.
Very important. This is important. There are 71 reasons why a person should go up the left side of the bridge. And I could spend 2 hours explaining them to you. But know these.
Okay. Then I presume those are a couple of photographs of your family or someone.
No, what, this?
Yeah.
No. This is the cast of Falcon Crest in Dallas.
Oh. What can you do? All right. Let's skip the other one.
This is my favorite picture I have in the house. This picture is Dream Flight. And this is a scene. This is a scene painted by Frank Frazetta. And it's from Ron's, not from Mission Earth. This is from Writers of the Future. It's the only book that I don't own of Ron's. I don't have that book. The reason why is because it was supposed to be in hardback, and I didn't want the. Oh, you picked up the copy of the Hebrew Dianetics book. They have an org in Tel Aviv, by the way.
Okay, and then the one above that?
The one above this is from Mission Earth Volume 2. This is Black Genesis, Fortress of Evil.
Okay. Then
By the way, my number is 224. That's on all these pictures. I've been assigned 224 by the Sea Org. Yeah, that's my number 224 on there. They didn't have a 224 for that one, so they gave me 13. I was the 13th person to buy that picture.
Okay. I see on the counter there's another e-meter.
That's not an e-meter. That's a learning accelerator.
Oh, okay.
That helps you reinforce things. That's almost like a brainwashing machine. It would help you remember things, except it doesn't use pain.
Well, how does that work?
Well, you pick up the cans and you don't have anyone audit you. This is used to reinforce an idea. In other words, if you're weak in a certain area, it's mainly used to apply ethics conditions.
How would that be done?
Similar to an e-meter. You know what? It has to be charged.
Well, don't worry about it. Just describe it to me. I mean,
Okay.
tell me about how it functions.
Okay. You set your balance just like you would have it set, and
Wait, let me clarify my point. Tell me what it's used to accomplish.
what it's used to accomplish. Okay, for method word clearing. In other words, if you do, or handling ethics conditions, it's good for that too. In other words, when you want to see whether you've remembered something, you continuously check your reads as you're learning something, and if your read shows decrease, you have to study it again.
Oh, okay. Now these two bookcases are.
Yeah, I need to put the dictionary back so it looks nice.
I'll get the dictionary for you.
Okay. I can see where you were here.
Here you are.
You touched it, I could tell. All right. This is my Scientology book and cassette library. I have some videotapes also given by Ron here, which are from the 1958 Washington 4th of July Freedom Clearing Congress, in which he tells you how to clear people. These are very good videotapes, which are given by Ron.
Now, down the hallway there towards the door, there are a number of other posters about being an operating Thetan.
The bottom three are the important ones.
Okay.
Because those are from the Flag World Tours. The first one is advertising the Flag World Tour, where they display, they have different speakers talking about different things you can do at Flag. The second one is for OT5, Second Wall of Fire, and the first poster is for OT1.
Okay. And the iconograph?
No, nothing. That's junk.
And what about Poverty Sucks? Is that just a general
Something my ex-wife left me.
This is a general statement.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the keyboard up to the right on the...
Oh, my first computer, for sentimental reasons, I couldn't throw it away.
Ah.
See?
Okay.
And, of course, here's a picture of L. Ron Hubbard.
Right.
In front of St. Hill. And just some funny picture I framed, and a zebra that's a Scottish zebra, which is funny.
Okay.
And matches, and that's lunch money up there.
All right, and then we have a poster for Knots.
OT5, a small poster. And this is just a nice Petri print about the end of the world when everybody was walking into the sea. It has nothing to do with Scientology. My New York subway map. Here's a very important thing. It's the evaluator's know-how chart. And it tells you how to find a negative situation and what to look for in order to do a handling on it.
Okay, now, in the kitchen behind you
There's
is a
a tone
poster on the
scale.
tone scale.
Right. And picture of Pee Wee Herman.
All right. And,
The money tapes.
okay, now, what particular tapes does that poster refer to?
These tapes tell you how to be a success as far as accumulating mess. They tell you Ron tells you the definition of money, the 5 conditions which are expressed there. There's actually more than 5, and also how to organize an org. So it really tells you how to set up an organization and run one and be successful.
Okay. And then I see here we've got a...
These are my favorite tapes right here. The time track of Theta. They're wonderful. And they give you a little booklet with them, some of which was written in Ron's own writing, explaining some of the things in the tapes. And they show a relationship between the genetic line and the Theta line. See? There's tapes behind here. There's 4 of them. The best tape of all is number 3, History of the Theta Line. If you haven't heard that, you should. Of course, there's a tape called the Between Lives area that is very interesting, too. That's St. Hill Special Briefing Course tape number 288.
Okay, now I see back on this wall, that looks like a German language
No, it's
posters
actually
for
in,
flag.
it's actually Dutch.
Dutch? Okay.
And just some pretty pictures I've collected over the years.
Okay. Now, back behind you, now that's another E-meter, the blue.
That's my old one. That's the standard Mark 6.
And how much was that one when you bought it?
2000. Got that, I forget, back in, I don't know, 80 something.
Okay.